All right, welcome to lesson 6, and we're here talking about hourly, salary, and commission methods of payment. So I can successfully describe the different types of payment options that exist and explain the range of wages that exist, including education and a variety of careers. So what are the different types of wages out there that when you enter the workforce, you may come across? In an earlier video, we talked about commission, so I'll start with it. Okay. You get a portion of your sales. All right, we talked about a variety of jobs that exist there. Real estate agent is an excellent example. Agent, sport check. All right, so commission, you get a portion of the sales, and it's a percentage. So I'll just put that right here. All right, so I'm not going to go into much more detail with it because we talked about it in a separate lesson. Now, the other ones. Talk about hourly, because this one, if you have a part-time job already, you'll be aware of. So hourly, you get paid for each hour of work. All right, so for each hour you work, you get an amount of money. So for example, I'll just go $10, just to keep life easy for us, for each hour. All right, so it doesn't matter whether you work extremely heavy labor, if you're working in construction, or you're working at Tim Hortons. If you get paid $10 an hour, you get the same amount of pay, regardless the job associated with it. Now, salary is a little bit more complicated. It's one that maybe not as familiar with, but you get a fixed amount each year, which divides down, you get a regular paycheck, but it doesn't go up or down. All right, so paid the same for 40 versus 60 hours of work. All right, so a couple of examples with that, with salary. So for example, teachers are on salary, accountants might be on salary, some business managers. So if you work in an office for a company, they might put you on salary. What that basically means is that you don't collect overtime, because there may be some weeks where it's only a 40-hour week. So, you're done at 4 o'clock every day, business is slow. But in the busy times in the summer, you might be putting in 60-hour weeks, and you are done when the work is done. All right. So employers that may have huge fluctuations in the amount of work may use a salary, because they know, although you're getting maybe overpaid for some parts of the year, you're going to be underpaid at some points as well. So I'm going to talk about some of the advantages there. All right, so those are your 3 payment systems, and like I said, salary may be the one that's the most foreign, and we'll talk about that on the next slide here. So I want to talk about some pros and cons to each method. All right, so hourly. What's a pro for the hourly? Well, I think it falls in both the pro and con category, because many hours equals more pay. So if your employer is really busy saying, okay, I need you to work a 60-hour week next week, you're going to make lots of money. Now the con to that, okay, slow at work is equal to less hours. All right, which means your pay may not be steady. All right, one week you may make $1,000, the next one you make $500, the next one $1,600. So your pay may not be steady. Whereas when we look at a salary, the pro is you get paid the same each paycheck. All right. So every paycheck you get the same amount. All right. So it really makes budgeting easy. Okay. Because you know exactly how much you're making every time. The downside to that is that you don't get overtime. All right. No overtime. No area to make extra money. All right. Because if I go back for 1 second back to hourly, hey, you can work overtime. And if you work overtime, and I'm going to talk about that in the next lesson, how that gets paid, but you got extra money for working overtime. So that means that if you know, gee, if I'm not very busy the next 2 weeks, if I work lots of hours, I'll make a lot more money. It's a huge pro for you. But with salary, there's no room. You can't make extra money on salary because there is no overtime. So if you work a 60-hour week, you got paid the same as you did when you worked your 40-hour week. So the nice, like I said, you got to kind of weigh it out. It's so nice getting the same each month or same each paycheck because you can budget easier. But you got to remember that's all you're ever going to get on every paycheck. Finally, commission. Okay, commission. You can make a lot if you are a good salesman or salesperson. You are a good salesperson. So if you are good at convincing people to buy stuff, if you are good at finding the right thing for the right person, commission is a huge plus because if you sell a lot, you can sure make a lot of money. The downside to that is, you know, you're tied to the economy. I'll put tied to economy. Okay, if no one's buying, you're not selling. So if nobody buys, you make no money. All right. So each one has its pros and cons. Those are the big ones. There's a lot of other little ones that you may think of. And if you have a couple that you want to double check, you can ask the teacher whether it's a pro or a con or whether it's a good one or not. But those are the big overlying ones. So each one has its pro and con. And it depends on the type of person you are and the type of lifestyle you live. So when you are looking at that, there are some employers that will ask, do you want hourly or do you want salary? So a tough decision because both have pros and cons. So I think at this point, I'm going to let you go to a worksheet. I think this worksheet's more of an investigation where you get a chance to look into some careers, to look at the payment system or look at some jobs and get a feel for, you know, what you can expect in certain areas. All right. So complete that worksheet. If you need any help, let the teacher know. And we'll see you in the second part. All right. Good luck.